Vytor The Starfire Champion. I know it sounds like I made that title up, but this was a real show. And it was so obscure that I don't even have something to put on the shelf here to, tie in with the episode. So I guess you can pause the video and try and figure out what DVDs I have lined up here. Anyway, Vytor The Starfire Champion was a very short-lived Saturday morning cartoon from 1989. Only 4 episodes were ever made, and it was pretty much never heard of again. We're going to look at all 4 episodes today, so let's not waste any time. Let's see if this show had any kind of potential. Episode 1 starts with our 2 not-so-subtle bad guys giving exposition about some ring they're looking for. The short guy is named Dreadlock, and the guy rocking the sweet mohawk here is named Mysore, who's voiced by Peter Cullen.
Find me the Starfire ring. I want no more excuses.
And of course, most people know Peter Cullen as the narrator from Voltron.
Voltron, defender of the universe.
We then cut to a girl named Skyla, who I swear looks like the lost member of Gem and the Holograms.
Your father, King Altair, has forbidden anyone to venture below the cloud line.
And apparently she has C-3PO programmed into her GPS.
The world down below is savage, brutal, and covered with dirt.
The odds of us successfully navigating this land are 3,720 to 1. Meanwhile, on the ground, we finally meet our main character, Vytor, the oddly Caucasian-looking native. Apparently they're having some kind of trial to see who will become the village champion, because what else do native people do all day?
Look out! What was that?
Why, I believe that's the plot. Jerica here gets shot down by some of Mysore's evil robots. You had your turn. Not concerned by this at all, she stops to admire the landscape while Vytor and that other guy ogle her from behind a rock. I guess there aren't many women in their village.
Dear Diary, jackpot.
One of Mysore's battle droids shows up. Native guy B tries to attack it with a stick and naturally gets knocked on his ass. But somehow Vytor can just jump kick the thing because he's awesome. Then the robot chases them to a cliff.
There is a river down there. We must jump.
Wait, let's analyze this first. I figure we only have a 15% chance of survival if we jump. Then again, if we don't jump, we only have a 13.5% chance.
Never tell me the odds! Oh, 2-part joke. Nice. Well, Vytor makes the decision for them and they jump. Luckily, they survive. Well, yeah, they're the main characters after all. And they find themselves in an ancient cave.
Evil forces protect this chamber.
That's just primitive superstition. I don't believe in your silly demons.
Hey, look, a silly demon. Then the demon turns into a blue girl who looks like Zordon's hot daughter.
Not long ago, our world was ruled by 3 kings. Altair, the king of science, who is your father, Skyla, Mysore, the warrior king, and Trion, the king of justice, who is your father, Vytor.
My father? But I'm a Terran.
Vytor, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're white. Meanwhile, Mysore is watching them.
The ring has been in the hands of a mere child all these years. Dreadlock, the ring is in the hands of a mere child somewhere on Teru. Deploy the mutoids. Search every village on the island and find the ring. My mohawk demands it.
Anyway, the Great Fairy here tells them that both of their fathers and Mysore once ruled the world with the help of a powerful energy source called the Saturn Orb. Mysore tried to take it for himself, but Vytor's father diminished its power by stealing its ring, which is the same ring on Vytor's shirt. So they both have to stop Mysore and get the orb back. Quite a coincidence, huh? Then she gives Vytor a powerful, legendary weapon, which is a shield and a throwing star. Really? That's the best you got? Well, okay. They exit the caverns of plot convenience and find Kimber's ship.
We must go. My people are in trouble.
Well, so is my cloud cruiser.
If you're going to play with your vessel, I'll go on alone.
I am not playing with it. This is a highly sophisticated piece of machinery. Why, Wind Chaser's bio-integrated voice modulator alone is so
You
complicated.
chatter more than a nervous monklet.
Oh, get a room already, jeez. Vytor heads back to his village to find Myzor's forces have taken it over.
Bring him up to the cliffs.
Move, human. The master wants you alive, but he didn't say in factory condition.
I am programmed to be hilarious. Aja shows up and frees the villagers who get their gliders to attack the robots and somehow put up a decent fight. Man, the Na'vi can really learn a lot from these guys. Then she uses her wrist thingy to cause the robots to do this.
What? What you doing? What happened?
Looks like they're a little mixed up.
That's the joke.
Deus Ex Machina! Dreadlock and the robots escape into episode 2, while this episode ends with Myzor giving us some cliche dialogue.
What a pleasure it is to have a worthy opponent after all these years. I shall have to take this boy more seriously next time. And there will be a next time.
Yeah, terrifying. Anyway, episode 2 opens with Vytor being trained to fight by the village elder.
I fear for your safety.
Don't worry about me, Chief Eldor. I can handle anything.
Really? The village elder is named Eldor? For fuck's sake. This is not Masters of the Universe! You can't get away with that! It's just lazy. Anyway, while we wait for the next cliche to show up, Vytor bumps into one of Myzor's things and they chase after it. Vytor throws the clave at it and is able to cut it in half because he's awesome. Shauna decides to take Vytor to Arion, the city in the sky where she's from, to see if something can be done about Myzor. But the people of the Cloud City are opposed to outsiders.
Might I remind the Council that Myzor has been known to use Terran natives as spies. They're more susceptible to brain control. It's their primitive minds.
Haha, racism! Well, after they find out that he's the son of one of the kings, they decide to invite him to dinner, which leads to more hilarity.
Is something wrong?
Don't you have any real food?
If this meal isn't to your liking, our food processors can produce 14,000 different variations.
Wait, I see something I want. No! The insides of the stalks are delicious.
Any manners?
I'm sorry. I shouldn't eat it all myself. Here! There's plenty for everyone.
Oh, Vytor, what are we gonna do with you? Suddenly, Myzor's vehicle playsets attack.
How did they find us?
I don't know, but it's time to get serious.
Okay, I'm sorry, but that's just really funny to me. It's like all this weird stuff and this fighting keeps happening, but now...
It's time to get serious.
It's time to get serious. So Vytor fights them off, Pizzazz does her thing too, and they go away. You know, I'm starting to sense a pattern here. And since the people of the Cloud City are dumb, they think Vytor had something to do with the attack.
We're arresting him for questioning.
Forget it. No one's arresting me.
I can't get arrested! I already have 2 strikes! Roxy catches up with Vytor and tries to reason with him.
No one is taking me prisoner.
Trust me, Vytor. I'll smooth everything out.
Guilty of espionage.
Yeah, good job there, Gloria Allred.
Skyla, I am not spending the rest of my life in a cage.
It's not a cage itself.
Skylar?
So while they bicker like they're married, more robots come to attack the city. Stormer manages to free Vytor and they try to escape. They eventually find themselves in a place called the Cloud Forest. Okay, really? Clouds you can walk on? This show just keeps getting weirder.
I'm detecting another presence on my scanner.
The mutoids have returned.
I'm much better looking than a mutoid, young man.
You know, if it wasn't for some of the hilarious one-liners, I don't think I'd be able to get through this one. So after yet another amazing coincidence, it's like they're making this up as they go along. They head back to attack the robots, and King Altair uses one of the most badass weapons ever. It's a keyboard that commands lightning! Shit! I want one of those! Seriously, imagine the look on your enemy's face when you assault them with a Rush song. And the episode ends with the Cloud People holding a We're Sorry ceremony for Vytor, and Mysore reading from the Book of Cliché again.
But remember, in the end, there can only be one winner. Mysore Sarcophagus.
His last name is Sarcophagus? Sarcophagus? Ugh. Creativity! What's that? On to episode 3. In episode 3, they're back at Vytor's village where the tribe is celebrating their tree. Because what fictional native culture is complete without some kind of sacred tree? So they play some games and Vytor shows off his skill, which leads him to accidentally fucking up the sacred tree, which is apparently so fragile that what would be equivalent to a light pruning is enough to kill it. Okay, now get this. Apparently the tree has some kind of magical effect on the people which keeps them from fighting amongst each other. In other words, without the tree, the villagers become assholes and immediately start building weapons for no practical reason whatsoever. Worst plot device ever. Vytor gets upset at what he did and throws his shield off a cliff. One of the village boys tries to get it back. By the way, his name is Papoose. You know, the word for that thing natives carry their babies in. Why the hell would you name your kid that? What's gonna happen when he's an adult? Are they still gonna call him Baby Carrier? Anyway, he loses the shield but gets saved by some monkeys. Now the shield is guarded by a fish. We'll get back to this in a minute. Back at the village, they figure out that if they can find one of the seeds that the tree releases, they can save everyone. You know, it occurs to me that this is only episode 3. Awfully soon for filler, isn't it? Anyway, Vytor goes looking, gets caught by some other villagers. They think he's a spy. What else is new? But then he saves one of them, so they're cool now. And apparently, they just so happen to have a way to track where the seed is going. How convenient! Vytor finds the seed, Papoose gets the shield back from the Murloc King. They all head back to the village, and the robots just so happen to be attacking again for some reason. You know the drill, they beat them, they run away, and they manage to heal the tree.
Huh? Care Bears, stare!
End of episode. Episode 4 opens with Vytor trapped in some invisible box set up by Dreadlock. They did not show how this happened. Anyway, he gets taken away to Mount Doom when we meet this girl named Pyra.
To continue, volcanic lava is composed of igneous rock in a molten state.
My daughter.
Father!
Wait, what? That's Mysore's daughter? Really? Okay, I don't know what's more messed up. The fact that someone found this guy attractive enough to sleep with him and produce an offspring, or the fact that this somehow produced this. Seems she's inherited the family mohawk, though. Anyway, she discovers Vytor and helps to free him. He escapes and she runs off.
You were never kind. You were just cruel and evil.
Who, this guy? Nah. Vytor finds his way to some desert cantina where he meets some delinquents but quickly dispatches them because he's awesome. Meanwhile, Pyra lands nearby and discovers a group of rebels who are against Mysore. Since she's first discovered her father was evil, she disguises herself and decides to join them. Eventually, Pyra and the Road Warriors here run into Vytor and Jeddah. Then, surprise, surprise, Mysore's action figures show up again and attack. So they all join forces and fight them off.
We can't let that featherman show us up! Come on! Yeah!
Vehicles and figures sold separately! After the fight, they call a truce and go their separate ways.
Maybe I'll see you again somewhere. Vytor, are you ready?
Ooh, jealousy. Well, sadly, we'll never know if they meet again because that's the last episode and all that was ever made of this show. For me, this show was kind of a mixed bag. I'll start with what was bad. First off, the lazy writing. It took less than 2 episodes for me to finally get bored of all this. The 1 in a million coincidences, the droning, predictable pattern of the action scenes, and the completely uninspired names for the characters. Overall, this show didn't bring anything new to the table, and for the most part, we've seen stuff like this already from established franchises. And this was '89, more big shows were right around the corner in the '90s. But having said all that, let me say what I did like about this. Though the writing was not up to par, there were a few good ideas here. There's a subtle message about magic and technology having to work together. I thought that was kind of interesting, since most shows would have them compete with each other. Also, it was implied that Mysore might have actually been a loving father, and was devastated when Pyra left him. During the time, showing a level of complexity in a villain like that was almost unheard of. Then, of course, there were the unintentionally hilarious moments. That alone might make this show worth checking out, just for a few laughs. Finally, the animation was actually really good for TV at the time. In fact, there were a few moments where the characters moved so fluidly it was borderline movie quality. Which brings me to why this show got cancelled. Apparently, this show was very expensive to produce. They used a lot of computer animation, which back then cost a lot of money. That's a shame, because to me that says they really tried to make this show into something, but just couldn't. These days, if a show gets greenlit, they're contractually obligated to produce a certain amount of episodes. Usually a whole first season, no matter how bad the show might turn out. In conclusion, if they had spent a little more time working on the show's content rather than how it looked, then this might have had a chance. It probably would have been up there with some of the bigger shows, but it could have had a decent run. Alright, the Obscurathon is past its halfway point. Next up, we got... the hell? Hey, what's up, man? Hey, Rex, haven't seen you in a while. How'd you get in here?
The lock in your door was busted. You ought to get that fixed. Anybody can just kind of wander in here.
Yeah, so what are you doing here?
I got kicked out of my old place. There was a, noise complaint. Is it alright if I crash here for a while?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't have a lot of space, and
well, what if I give you this? You can review it for your show.
Oh, what do you know? It worked. Never heard of this one. Looks like it's got some music talent behind it, too. Okay. Alright, next time, we're gonna look at this.